Hey everyone. Before we start the main video, I just want to make sure that you're in contact with your group. The group is posted on Brightspace content, and that you have shared your resume, cover letter, and business card with them so you can get feedback. Now, one group has set up a WhatsApp group, probably the easiest way for everyone to just be in contact and have all of your stuff in the same place. And today's assignment is also a group project, so make sure you're in touch and that's all set up already. After searching job sites, maybe signing up to a job hunting agency, getting a lead from a friend, or searching agency websites, and then sending out your beautifully designed resume that has no typos, now you've got an interview with a company that you've applied to. Excellent. Well done. So now what do you do? The very first thing you do is you get the name and title of the person you are interviewing with. You get their direct number if possible, definitely their email address, the Zoom link or street address of however they're going to do the interview, and then the time of your appointment. Put all of this in your calendar on your phone, also on your computer, but I recommend you also stick it on your refrigerator with a Post-it, just in case, there's an outage or your phone runs out of juice or whatever. So no matter what, make sure you have an alert set up to remind you when you need to be ready. The next step is research. Find out more detail about what kind of work the company does, not just the skills they're looking for from you, but what kind of work they do in general. Digital, print, web, app development, animation, campaign development, strategy, all that stuff. You can easily find this information on their website, but also the internet itself. Has anyone else written about them in an article? Have they won any awards and what for? You can find out who their clients are. Reread the original job posting so you know precisely what they're asking for from you specifically. And now you have a big picture of the company and an idea of how you will fit into that structure. If you got this job through a personal connection, have a chat with that person and ask them about the culture of the company if they happen to know. And this way you'll have more of an idea of what to expect. Now you can go into the interview already knowing a lot. This is smart, and it's also an impressive thing to do. Chances are you don't have everything that they're asking for. When they ask about this, like we do a lot of HTML work and you only know a little bit, be prepared with an answer you have figured out before the interview. If they want someone with 6 months experience and you only have 4 months experience, what are you going to say? They have brought you in for a reason. They think you're a possible hire, so have an answer ready. Dress more formally, not like you're going to a funeral, but not like an ordinary office worker. Smart casual is a good way to go. Pretend you're meeting your significant other's parents for the first time. When you're in a Zoom meeting, it's easy to forget what you're wearing. So make an effort and make sure you're dressed all over. If you have to stand up, they do not need to see your sweatpants or underwear, and it happens more than you realize. Make sure you're in a quiet room that is tidy and no one will walk in on you. If you can't find a tidy room, prepare a Zoom background in advance. Light yourself well so people can see your expressions. For makeup, if you're going to wear it, make it tasteful, low-key. You're not sure who you will be talking to, so present yourself in a way that will help you connect with anybody. Make sure you're not hungover, that you've got a decent amount of sleep the night before, that you at least look bright and energetic. Make sure you've eaten breakfast, that you have no reason to feel uncomfortable physically, apart from the fact that you're going into an interview. Go to the bathroom before your interview. There's a statistic out there that says interviewers make up their minds about a candidate in the first 15 seconds. It doesn't mean they want to hire you in 15 seconds. It means they can write you off in 15 seconds. So make those 15 seconds count. Look them in the eye. Nice smile. Don't hide it away. Try not to scratch your nose. And I realize looking people in the eye is tricky on a video call, so your best bet is to look straight into the camera, not at the screen. So that way you will appear to everyone that you're looking directly at them. Interviews often have more than one person, and those people are frequently in different places themselves, so they're not all sitting around the computer. This is something you can practice in advance with a friend. Let them tell you when you're looking in the right place. Whether you're in person or on a Zoom call, be prepared with some pleasantries. If they ask, "How are you?" figure out what your answer is going to be. "Fine, thanks. Happy about the World Series." Whatever. Be prepared to say something, but don't tell them the story of your life. This is people being pleasant to each other before the real stuff starts. What you're doing in these first couple of seconds is making a connection with someone who you may be spending many hours of your life with. The fact is, they want to like you. They don't want to spend weeks finding a good candidate. Make yourself that good candidate by making an immediate connection. With in-person interviews, they often ask if you want tea or coffee. Politely say yes or no. Keep in mind the interview could go on for over an hour. With video interviews, obviously that won't happen. I suggest you supply yourself with water or tea or coffee in advance so you have it when you need it. If you're an in-person, bring several copies of your resume. For Zoom, have a PDF of your resume available on your desktop, so if anyone does not have a copy of your resume, you can quickly message it to them. That goes, if you're using a PDF portfolio, that also goes for the PDF portfolio. So you can actually just post it to the Zoom chat and everyone immediately has access to it. Website, it doesn't matter. I also recommend that you use a computer if possible, rather than a smartphone. Your interviewers will appear larger and the setting will be more realistic. And you will avoid that thing, what happens sometimes when your hand gets tired and you're looking at your phone and all of a sudden it sort of tilts backwards and now all of a sudden they're looking up your nose and it just looks terrible. My brother does that all the time. It drives me crazy. Remember what you're applying for. If they're looking for someone with video editing, some HTML and print production, which these days is not unusual, know that already, so when they tell you about it, you're not taken by surprise. This is your chance to be specific about your skills. You can say, "I'm really good at HTML and CSS. I know a bit of After Effects. I could do a simple animation, but not necessarily a lot of fancy effects. But I'm learning about that now." You can be more detailed about your experience than you are on your resume, so you're not getting in over your head and you're being honest about what you can do. You can say, "I'm very good at Photoshop. I'm pretty good on InDesign. I'm a very strong web designer." You can quantify your experience in person rather than putting those little stupid graphs on your resume that rate you in advance. Never say you're bad at something. Just say, for instance, basic video editing. Bad is a bad word because it makes it sound like if I'm giving you this project, you're going to screw it up because you're bad at it. If you're basic in that skill, it means you're somebody who's learning about it and you're going to make it good no matter what it takes. That's my opinion. You don't want to oversell yourself. You don't want to get into a situation that you can't handle. But most of the time, if you have a grasp of the software, unless it's something really complicated and advanced, you can usually figure it out on the fly. As junior designers, you don't know everything. You can't know everything. Nobody knows everything. It's impossible. There are hundreds of programs out there. Every program is highly complex, and the reality is we're always learning on the job. There are always times in the office when software is updated. You all need to learn the new changes, or a new program is brought in and you all help each other figure it out. This is normal studio practice. Don't think you have to know everything, but you do need to know some software really well. That's a key reason why they're hiring you. Know what you put on your resume. You got the so-and-so prize. What was that? You have to know that so you can explain it to them. You're a member of a club. What did the club do? Be able to explain it if they ask. That goes for everything on your resume. There was a speaker from Gray Advertising came to City Tech a couple of years ago and said that the interviewers like to see evidence of interest in the design community outside of your job and outside of your classes. So once again, It's a very good idea to be able to put on your resume that you belong to a design organization of some kind. And I suggest you join one of those before you graduate and get the student rates. So then you can say that you are a member of the One Club or the Type Directors Club or Society of Publication Designers or the Society of Illustrators, AIGA, SIGGRAPH, or you go to design meetups, or you're involved in an alumni organization, or that you're a member of a club here at CityTex, or you take drawing classes at the Art Students League, or you're a member of the Design Museum up at Columbus Circle, or you go to typography lectures at Cooper Union, or that you do software tutorials online, or you mentioned design-related YouTube and Vimeo channels. Any one of these shows your commitment to your career and your craft outside of your job and outside of school. So be prepared with an answer to that question. And if they don't ask it, maybe just want to bring it up anyway. I'm not saying you have to do all of those things, but you should do at least one, and ideally more than one. There's nothing wrong with revisiting your resume this week and putting in some more stuff. If you join an organization this week, put it on your resume, and LinkedIn. And this might be a good time to do some research on design organizations and see which one will suit you best. Remember, my list is on Brightspace content, and when you join as a student, you get a hefty discount. The fact is, new organizations come on stream all the time, so my list may already be out of date. So do your own research as well. And also, there might be organizations more geared to young people. Now, if you work with another student on a project, when your interviewer looks at that project, mention your team members and describe how you came up with your concepts. Talk about the shared project in detail and who did what and what was your responsibility. A big thing in design studios is the ability to work with others. It's a vital skill and is highly valued. And if you mention your team members, it shows that you will give credit where credit is due. If you hand-lettered something, or designed a font, or photographed something, or you did an illustration, this is the time to mention it. Blow your trumpet. Blow your own trumpet. Don't hide from your accomplishments. I know some of you are a bit shy, but this is not the time to be shy. You don't have to give them the story of your life, but just say, yes, that was mine. I did that. That was, I worked with so-and-so on this. Show off your skills. In your portfolio, I always recommend that you avoid long explanations on the page because honestly, nobody's going to bother reading them. They're going to look, they're not going to read. But be prepared for a longer explanation about a project if asked in an interview. Sometimes you can get into a situation where you're telling the interviewer every last detail of the history of a project. Be aware of what they need to know, not what you want to tell them. It's easy to get carried away with the details, which can get repetitive if you're not careful. So focus on the bones of the project. This is what we were asked to do. This is how we approach it. This is what we finished with. You really don't want them to get bored. When you work as a designer, you find yourself working with different people doing different aspects of a project in different departments of the company. You will need to talk to web developers, print production people, branding people, clients, client reps, other designers, UI, UX people, writers, editors, not to mention your boss and their boss. So showing evidence that you are able to work with others and give them credit is very important if you want to stay in a friendly office rather than one where everyone's trying to tear each other's arms and legs off. At some point, they'll ask you, do you have any questions? What question do you have about our company? So you have a couple of questions in your back pocket. When does the job start? Is always a good question. Something relevant to the research you've done on the company is always good. I see you do a lot of work in the sports industry. Is that the main focus of your agency, or are you expanding into other areas? Things that show that you know stuff already. You're already finding out useful information. So this is where we come to the fun part. Your assignment this week is to go to content on Brightspace, where there's a list of interview questions. You will buddy up with your group members and practice the questions, either on Zoom or in person. In the group, you act as interviewers to one person at a time. So if there's 4 of you in the group, 3 of you will interview one person, and then 3 of you will interview another person. So basically you go around the group and you ask them all the questions. There's a lot of questions, but you're training yourself to think on your feet and to know what is the relevant information that you need to be able to impart in an interview. When you've completed this, post on Brightspace who you met with and give a quick description of how it went and if you had any problems or questions. Everyone should post. Post about your personal experience as an interviewee, the person being interviewed. You don't have to post about asking the questions. If you think some of these questions are ridiculous, students I know have gone on interviews and have been asked some of the more ridiculous ones, and I've heard some of these questions myself. Interviewers ask these questions to see how you think on your feet. It's evidence of your creative thinking, so be prepared for the unexpected. Once again, interview questions are on Brightspace content. And this is fun. There's no stress. It's not an actual job interview. You're with your pals and you have time to think about stuff and you have time to screw things up. And it means that when you do have the stressful situation come up, it's going to be a lot easier for you because you've already been through this process a bunch of times. I mean, honestly, every time you go for an interview, it's a good idea to practice with somebody. But this is with your portfolio pals. It'll be great. Don't worry, it'll be great. And finally, you have an assignment to go to a design event and write a 1-page report on how it went and what you thought about it. It needs to be in person, not on Zoom. But a department-organized event like Meet the Pros will also do. But in New York, there are events all the time, like at the Design Museum, at Cooper Union, at Apple stores, at one of the many professional organizations that I've already mentioned. This is writing practice, and it's a getting to know the design community in New York practice. I suggest that you do not use AI to write this. If you end up using AI, I better not be able to tell. The essay is due before Thanksgiving, and the interview practice is due before Thanksgiving. Figure it out, and it should be pretty easy to organize. The key thing is to be in touch with your group, and don't wait for them to contact you. Be proactive. Be the person that makes it happen. It'll be good for all of you if you're all making this happen. With the AI thing, I think I pointed out to some of you that there's these key kind of pompous sounding AI words that people tend not to use in real life. Words like strive. People that have written the cover letters, I mean, you've all done this. Sometimes AI will say, I strive to be an excellent designer. It's like, nobody says that. Nobody says that. I'm eager to make my mark in the design community. That sounds a bit weird. There was a couple other ones, but just in your essay, try to make it sound like you talking. And I find that AI is most useful to do a sort of rough draft, but then you have to make it sound like you and not like these repetitive sentences that just use adjective after adjective. I mean, they're well-constructed sentences, but there's like 5 of them in a row, and it's just very sort of unnatural. So yeah, use it if you want, but also it's not a bad idea to just write it yourself and just get in some writing practice. However, we will see how that all works out, and I will see you on Sunday and Monday.